We're we're on live. We're on live. We're on live. Wow!
Excellent. Excellent.
I still can't believe this. It's just amazing. And my mother, she looks at 96. She looks at this sort of technology and she says, "How can that happen? I don't like it." And because it's foreign to her because she's born 1926. If anyone does the maths right. So I have the utter great pleasure of yet again introducing you Associate Professor of Music, Mr. Peter Adams. Huh? Hang on.
Actually, I'll correct you. It's no longer. You take away the associate. Take away the associate.
I'm actually wrong. Oh, that's right. You've become a professor. What does that feel like? How does that happen? What's that all about?
So if you stay at an institution long enough, like I have for over 30 years, then inevitably you slowly get up the ladder. But I was very pleased. It's all about the number of music performances I've done and compositions. There's a little bit of luck getting pieces recorded and all of that sort of thing. I was very thrilled. That happened about just before Christmas, so it was a very nice present.
And I've now got to introduce myself too.
Yes.
Yes, my name is David. I'm from News Talk ZB, and I have the great utter pleasure. I have the great utter pleasure. Isn't technology great? Now, time capsule. Jumping in here, time capsule. Forward or back, Peter and Professor Peter, but you want me to call you Peter.
Yes, definitely. Forget the professor.
Forward or back, which is your preference, please?
Backwards. I think I love books that are set in 1900s, 1910, 1920, before the World War. I think it would be a fascinating time to live. Musically, it was a time of great composers and a lot of interesting change just around the turn of the century. And society was just starting to get, the whole communications thing, Edison inventing the record player and the phonograph and the film. And, it must have been a really exciting time. And it looks like it was a time where we didn't have Trumps. So that's always appealing.
And why not forward, Peter?
Well, at the moment, I look at the world and I look at my children, and because I'm a university teacher, I deal a lot with people between the age of 18 and 22. And at the moment, I think I've never seen a more anxious and unsettled group of young people. Their vision of the future that they had before COVID, it's been shattered. It's been shattered by a pandemic. It's been shattered by terrible politicians like Trump and Bolsonaro in Brazil, and the guy who wanted to kill all the drug dealers in Indonesia, all these far-right, racist, whatever. And then there's climate change, and the world's in a bit of trouble, and I'm not sure if I want to see 50 years ahead, because there may be just a big black nothing. I hope not. I'm not a pessimist, but when you see what's going on in the world at the moment, I guess we've always had wars, but I feel a little bit nervous about the future. Sorry to put a gloomy spin on this, by the way. I'm normally not a gloomy person.
I don't think so. I don't think you're right. I think you usually are a gloomy person. Now I hear that the Penriths have had another in New South Wales, or so from your brother, a friend of mine, of course. But you're probably, he was my coach back then a long time ago. He was actually the Otago junior coach. But we're having a lot more contact together. But anyway, So they've been successful over there in New South Wales again. They've had another win.
Yeah,
So,
it's fantastic.
one
And
comment?
Jonathan often goes to home games. It's not far, and he goes with some of his friends from church. And he's a real proper supporter, you know, in the stand, probably shouting. I don't know. Do you think he'd shout? You know Jonathan pretty well. Do you think he'd be shouting and raising his arm?
Oh, it's interesting. I'm not sure.
No, neither am I. I can't imagine it, but I bet he does.
But we all know about the exploits of the Adams family, with some of the things that they do, like trumpets being played at early hours of the morning, but Jonathan, you've said to me that he's the best chess player out of the three of you.
Definitely. Do you know, David, he was the captain of the Australian chess team at 2 Olympiads, the non-playing captain, which I guess is a bit like a manager, coach, psychologist, you know, carry the bags, I don't know. But you know, that's still something that he had that position in Australian chess. And yeah, he was definitely, all of us Adamses, my dad still plays and he's 87. But we're all old now, so I don't know what Jonathan's FIDE ratings would be. But once upon a time, he'd have been close to getting, you know, he'd have been up, I don't know, a 2100 sort of player, maybe. Like yourself, maybe a bit more. He could have, I don't know, if if he'd had the time to do real work, he probably could have looked at something like a FIDE master or international master or something, you know, but he'd never had the time. He was always had to work 9 to 5 like most people do. So.
And men tend to focus on one thing, and the other things take sort of secondary, etc., positions in their life. What comments about that?
Yeah, I think it's changing, but I think you're right. I mean, I think it's funny, isn't it? The men in our family were the chess players, and I guess, you know, I've given a bit of thought to this gender imbalance in chess, and I guess it starts with when you're 5 or 6. Someone says to a young boy, "Oh, do you want to learn a war game?" And you're like the general in charge of an army, and we're going to have a fight, have a battle, and the best army will win.
Oh, wow.
Little boy's going to go, yeah, that's cool. Say that to a little girl, aged 5 or 6. Do you want to play a war game? You know, let's kill the enemy. That's not something little girls are interested in. You know, not really.
I suppose so. Yeah, but there are the Polgars and exceptions.
Of course there are. You know, they say about 10%, or maybe it's up to 15% of chess players are female, and hopefully it's changing. Once in Polgar's time, apparently it was only 9%. 91% of chess players at that sort of level were male. But
and you learn all that stuff when you're doing your busy music stuff. You learn
a little bit about people. I mean, you know, in order to, you have to know a little bit about the differences between men and women, sort of academically, and how they think. Because actually, women think a little differently from men. As you say, men tend to be pretty blinkered. There's the old joke about, you know, women can't read maps, but men can't multitask, or, you know, these sorts of things. But there's an element of truth.
and there's a mixture of there's a variation on that is more than a myriad of mixtures around that. Like, you can have men can be quite focused, but they can be also a little. I got told that I was effeminate, and that might be because I talk a lot. But I'm not saying women talk a lot, but I do sort of like have a wee personal joke that I almost don't want to say. It's because I'm not talking about me. I have a wee personal joke that says I can out-talk any woman on the planet. So moving on. I'm not, no comment, thanks. Moving on, I don't want to have affirmation or the opposite. That's so. What's better, a doctor or a professor?
Oh wow, there isn't really. I wouldn't like to think one is better than the other. To be a doctor, you either you're a doctor of medicine, and it's 7 or 8 years of very responsible training and a very responsible job. If you're a doctor, a PhD doctor, you've spent 3 or 4 years becoming a real expert in a subject. And today, most professors at universities are doctors. They've got their doctorate first. I'm an exception because I've been here so long. I started a doctorate and never finished it. So I'm not Dr. Adams, but somehow I got the professorship. But actually getting a university job now, one of the requirements is that you are a doctor. For a lot of universities, they won't look at you if you haven't done a PhD. But I was lucky, when I started in 1990. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have email. We didn't have the World Wide Web. We had 26 dictionaries of Grove's music and musicians, and the students had to, actually go and open pages and look at an index and find page 592 for an article on Shostakovich or something. But now it's one click on Google, and the amount of Wikipedia that we get in essays.
That is a damn good name, isn't it? Shostakovich. I mean, it
always a great
sounds,
name. Yeah.
It's one I can say or pronounce sort of relatively okay, but isn't it such a great name for? I mean, when you were talking about a boy and a chess game and a girl in a chess game at the age of 4 or 5. Yeah. Well, you said 5, but like the names of chess players, sometimes they're meant to be a chess player, and Shostakovich definitely sounds like he should have been a musician or something.
It's funny you should say he was a very famous Russian composer, and of course he got tied up in the whole Stalin things. His music had little anti-Stalin messages if you knew how to interpret them. There's a famous photo of him and another composer, Prokofiev, who wrote Peter and the Wolf, and Shostakovich playing chess. Because they were Russian and they grew, they were probably pretty decent chess players. And very, very fine composers of music. So, I always think that the Russian names are brilliant, don't they? They sound like chess players, Nimzovich, Shostakovich, Prokofiev.
Kasparov.
Kasparov, you got it.
Tal or Misha.
They're wonderful names to say out loud.
If you say them right, I often don't. So you've spoken about brother Jonathan Adams, chess player, chess champion, and very busy man, and like Christian and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
A person that I can look up to because I had to when I was younger. Now, my friend, who is a doctor of engineering, not a doctor of medical, has just announced to me a day or so ago that he had an interview with Chennai, the organisers of the Olympiad, Chess Olympiad, this year, I take it. Yeah. And he's been accepted as a volunteer, but he told me the other day, the doctor told me the other day that he wasn't accepted. And since then, he's had an interview at 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And so I wrote to him on Facebook Messenger, because he's actually got a picture of himself with the great chess player of the Norwegian Rat opening, which is an opening that you taught me from the great Magnus Carlsen, that he can play it against anything. Or anything. Yes. I'm saying anything on purpose, because it reminds me of How to Cheat at Chess book, which is really good, really fun to read. But he had the chance meeting. I don't know if it's chance, but it certainly is. It connects my friendship with him. He had the chance meeting Magnus Carlsen in Copenhagen, and he is on this chess channel talking about that experience. And I always have in mind that he didn't get a signature. He got a selfie with the cell phone. I said, well, what about a signature, an autograph? Why didn't you get an autograph? So I've now said to him, okay, I'm talking the longest I want to talk. I've now said to him, I want at least 120 autographs, at least. And I want interview with Prague or Sarin and Prague. Thank you. Bye.
And so he will volunteer. Is it volunteering for the New Zealand chess, or actually volunteering for FIDE? Because it's in India, isn't it?
Chennai Twain. But Chennai is his hometown of India. So he's already the New Zealand. He's got a few bows to his, is it bows to his, or he's
strings
got a few feathers in his cap. One of them is sort of chess, kind of. But he's also the point scorer for New Zealand cricket. And so he's often involved in scoring the games and that sort of thing. So he gets to sit up in the, I'm sure Jonathan would love to be sitting up the top.
Yes, I think Jonathan would love to meet your friend, because Jonathan was the cricket scorer at King's High School. He was also, so he used to do the scoring in the book. It's to each ball that was bowled and the runs, and there's a lot to do in that short time. So the two of them sound like they've got a huge amount of common interests.
Oh wow! I'm going to make sure he gets to hear that.
Love your beanie, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's my.
With the word "talk" in the middle, it just seems so appropriate for you,
I'm News Talk ZB. I'm News Talk ZB. I told you, I introduced myself that I'm News Talk ZB. Yes. And like I have to learn all these. I have to learn all these things like Q, R, Q, C, and that's all to do with elocution. But I want to stick. I'm not talking. But and they say find your deep bass. That's not my deepest bass. I can go really low, but. We talked the other day about chess exercises, and I said that to me they're like, I say on this channel that they're like the piano exercises where I'm going up and down the chords and I'm going, oh, this is silly, but at the end of the day, I've even just in the weekend, my friend has been doing my chess friend here in Dunedin has been doing some chess exercises. And I asked him after that, do you think it's helping your game? And he said, yeah, the answer is worth a bit of a ponder. He thinks, better say what's right here, otherwise David will be angry with me. And I have to burp. And I interviewed him the other day, just a short, crazy one and that sort of thing, but you've even answered the ones about you speak about the generals and all that in chess, that you're a general of an army. So do you view it that way? Do you view it that you're kind of a general and not a soldier? You're a general? Because if you're a soldier, he says, you're not going to perform as well as if I teach you to be a general of the army.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that if we are the chess players, we're sort of standing back. We're like the people back at Whitehall in London, and the battle is somewhere in France or Belgium, Flanders Fields or something. So you've got to remove yourself from the board and the pieces to a certain extent. You're like these people and you're planning your maneuvers, but you're trying to take into account the opposition's maneuvers. You always say respect your opposition and respect the pieces, and it's so true. You know, I often lose a game of chess because I get caught up in my own plan and haven't paid enough attention to what's quietly been going on with my opponent. And they've got a plan. And sometimes they're a tempo or two ahead, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. You know, so you've got to be able to step back a little bit. So I think in that respect, you are like the generals who are in high command somewhere, you know, and the battle is going on, and they are the people who have got an objective view. But I wanted to ask you, David, I think chess is changing. I've been following the candidates a little bit, just following results and hearing a few interviews. And it seems that now we've got these supercomputers. It seems that a huge amount of what a chess player has to do at this highest level is go through all of the lines through, you know, over 20 moves of possibilities on a particular opening and particular variations of it. And they basically, this is a huge memory thing. And I know one or two grandmasters have spoken about this too, that this you've got to memorize a huge number of lines. And of course, Magnus has got almost a photographic memory. You can show him a position and he'll say, oh, that's Tal Petrosian, you know, 1960 or something. So is chess becoming a game now at the highest level where it's not about your ability to see things over the board, it's more about having a good memory and having actually a superb memory? Because if it is, that's a sad thing, really.
Yeah, we spoke about this last week, and I, at the same time, I've already mentioned that you taught me the Norwegian rat opening, which I haven't actually played yet because they might think, oh no, I'm playing me, I give up. Bye. But the thing is that I think that Magnus, world chess champion Magnus, still current. I think he's champion because he's got, what I can tell, he's got quite a great intuition, and I think that he operates primarily on that, because when he was very young, he was very, very good too, when he was very, very young. So that might be the support from his family. He had great support. He was born in 1990, so the same year as someone special to me, so I remember that. But he's born 1990, so that makes him 32 soon. He's going to turn 32 shortly. But when he was like 9-10 years old, he came upon the advent of internet and all that sort of stuff. So that would have helped. I've seen videos of him at home where he's with his sister and his father and mother are there, and I think someone else is in the family. And he's there and he's with his chess magazine, and he's just looking at the chess magazine. And he's not analyzing the pieces out or something. He's just looking at the chess magazine, and he's just reading through this chess magazine, which is going to be extremely good for his chess when he comes to the board and he actually gets to see side of the pieces, which is the great advantage of playing blindfold chess or trying to visualize that position in your head.
Yes.
So,
yes.
but
yes.
I mean, I don't think that what you're talking about is the knowledge versus the understanding. And I think that he's got a complete balance, a complete versatile balance of both those areas in the game of chess. And I'd want to say about the generals.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
I want to say about the generals, because just in my virtual church service yesterday, when two armies are opposing each other a long time ago, they would always try to kill or to get rid of the generals or the leaders of the army, the officers, and that sort of thing. That's why often in World War II they said, oh, look, don't, or whatever, any war now, they don't like to have signia to identify the leaders and that sort of thing, or don't call me sergeant, or don't call me professor, or don't call me doctor, because then they're going to go, oh, that's the man or the woman we want to get shoot.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't care about the undergullets, or however I'm meant to say that word. We don't care about them, because as soon as we get rid of the leaders, they're all going to flee, or they'll be someone else will capture them and that sort of thing, because they won't know what to do.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and chess, we'll willingly sacrifice a pawn, but we'd be stupid to sacrifice our king.
Well,
yeah,
but
the end of the game. So,
we do so often sacrifice our king, because we're doing, like you said just before, you touched on this just before, that I'm looking at my own plan, but then I thought, oh, hang on, my king.
Yes. Oh no, my king.
Oh no, my king. Not oh no, my queen. Oh no, my
That's
king.
Right.
My king.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So we're both in Dunedin. I think you're in Dunedin. Well, I'm in Dunedin.
Yes.
I'm in St Kilda. But we're both in Dunedin, and we're on the video call, and Mum will find that really odd. She'll say, why didn't you go round to his place? You don't want me there, because I'll get lost again.
No, I'm at I'm at work, and I have a markers meeting this afternoon. All the marks from the first semester are looked at, so I have to organise my day quite carefully. So yeah. But I haven't played chess for about a year now, David, other than the odd game against a computer. But I do find computers slightly frustrating, because they tend not to play 4 moves from a well-known opening. It's not like you can say, oh, good, I've got an open Ryla pairs or something. They always play these slightly stupid moves, but to start with, and then you get, and it's good, because you have to think, but you never get to practice something that you're likely to play against someone in the chess club. So, so I'm thinking I'll have to go back soon to some over-the-board chess, or maybe I'll play some human beings through live chess or something. I haven't done that yet. I've been a bit scared to do that. Not sure why. Yeah.
And so do you, anyway, more questions of now into the future. Do you stay Dunedin, or do you ever have any aspirations to move elsewhere, or are you very much fastened, fixed and forget for Dunedin?
I do. I think I'm pretty much a Dunedinite. I was born in Oamaru, but moved to Dunedin after 3 months or something, and had my schooling here mostly. Went away for a while, came back to this job. And it's been cold the last 10 days, Dave. It's been freezing. And yeah, occasionally I think, oh, it'd be nice to live somewhere warmer. But, it's a beautiful area. We've got wonderful scenery and walks and things all around the peninsula and Tunnel Beach, and, lovely spots, as you know. I think as I get a little older, and maybe when I retire from the university, I can see us going away for weekends, going to Tekapo or Omarama, Central Otago or something. But I think I'm happy in Dunedin, and it's a nice little city. And I think Dunedin, I'm pretty proud, really.
And so what words do you have to say about another chess subject, Crusaders versus the Blues?
I watched that game with a couple of friends, one of whom's son-in-law told me that he plays chess and he's actually got a chess.com account. And I never knew this. I said, I have to play you sometime. But that's an aside. We watched this game at the Cableways Tavern. And I have to say, it's the first game of rugby I've watched all season from the start to the finish. And like a lot of New Zealanders, I think I've lost a bit of interest in rugby because of the pandemic. I've got no interest in being in a stadium with 25,000 people, David. Not at the moment. But watching it on television, and I could not believe how the Crusaders completely dominated that game. Their coach, it was if you use the chess metaphor, they had done their preparation so well on the opposition. They had a game plan and they executed it. They targeted what they saw was a couple of weak areas maybe up front, and they just stuck to their guns, stuck to their plan, and it was really convincing. So, you know, I thought, yeah, good chess lesson there, you know, good preparation, knew what you wanted to do and went about doing it. I thought that was great.
The game was good. I watched the last 10 minutes or so, and I was recounting to you the last 10 minutes or so, where the score, I believe, was 14-7, and I'm not a rugby man at all. And anyway, I was watching it with my friend, and I think he was supporting the Blues a little bit because he said, 2 more tries will win this game, 2 for the Blues.
The Blues, yes.
And then just about like clockwork, straight away, I said, like a chess player, I don't know, I just like a chess player. I mean, I'd like to see it again, the footage, but like a chess player, I said, oh no, the Crusaders are going to make a try here. They're going to try now. It's going to happen. Because what happened was the ball was loose. It was running towards the Blues goal line or try line. And 3 big, powerful Auckland Blues players were running after the ball. And meanwhile, on the right wing came a Māori winger. I'd just say a right wing.
Yeah.
And I saw he had such speed, and I thought, oh, yeah, this is going to be a try because the ball was loose. So it was just like a rugby ball or something like a spocker ball. And it was just going across, and here comes this guy, and he went in front of them. He fumbled the ball, but he ended up touchdown and 21-7. Wow. And then with that, my friend, my chess friend went, congratulations. I said, oh, thanks. News Talk ZB.
We heard it here first. But that is a chess player vision. Yeah, that is a chess player vision.
So. I think so, because you can just tell weakness and strength, and the speed has all got to do with it. So I think that like I heard a long time ago when I heard about 5-6 years ago that chess is dead now that the computers come on the scene, but people are going to keep playing chess. I mean, like at the highest level, they've got it. It's pretty down packed, but there's still those people that come to the board and create and make and things that have been staring one in the face for years, and they come up with a new move, and all of a sudden they're back to the drawing board or back to the mat or back to the whiteboard or whatever.
Yeah.
So I want to, with respect to you, because I can't even myself, but I want you to close this meeting now, and then after that I'm going to stop the meeting and I'll say goodbye to you. But so thank you very much, Peter, from News Talk ZB here in Christchurch. So can we just have your words, please? And I try this time not to talk.
Well, thank you very much for having me, David. It's always enjoyable to catch up with you, and we were able to catch up and have a coffee in person last week, which I really enjoyed. we've known each other a very long time, although for 40 years in the middle we didn't we were in different worlds really. So it's always nice when someone from your past re-emerges and you reconnect, which I've really enjoyed. So so thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to future discussions. And I subscribe to your videos and look and have a go at the puzzles myself, and sometimes I get them right. So I just say to you, keep up your good work that you're doing, wide-ranging as always. And yes, I'll finish by saying I am 100% in agreement with the fact that you probably can out-talk any woman. Thank you very much. Cheers.